I've been watching a lot of news. Which usually, no, it's not great. Every once in a while, something will happen that you're like, that's okay. I'll let that slide. It'll be bad news, but it's bad news that you can like live with, you know? Like there's one particular squirrel that's been attacking a bunch of people, and it's like really getting them. It's like the news came. You know how much a squirrel has a scratch? You know how deep it has to get to be newsworthy? Like the news came and interviewed all these people. So far, he's got like 2 victims. Both people are like, he came right at me. But mostly is bad in a bigger way. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is, I guess, what bothers me the most is who they interview as well. When you're watching the news, you end up watching a lot of rich people, but they won't have anything to do with what's happening, really. So why are you asking what he thinks? He does have money, yes, but like he wasn't even there. That's weird. And then sometimes the news will be about them because they're rich and they're moving money around. And we've done a thing now where we've equated being rich with being important. Because obviously money has power, it can bring you influence. But then at a certain point, you have to just accept that, like, yes, they have money, they don't know anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I mean that from a place of like, we have equated having money with being really smart. You must be really smart if you got the money. Because you must be brilliant if you have lots of money, because it's the only way you can get money. Dude, I'm just saying, that's how they teach it. They're like, man, this guy was really smart. He had all the money. I'm sure he came about it by completely legal and ethical means, but like he has all this money. So he's probably really smart. We should just listen to him. And it's like, if that was how you got money, then yes. But it isn't. There's so many different ways to get money. Some people had an idea. They invented something. And then a lot of people were like, that's a great idea. We're glad you invented that. And then they buy so much of it that now this person is rich. Or you write a book. You write a book. You write a book and everyone likes the book, and then you put the book out and then the book is $20, but then like millions of people like it, which is millions of 20s. Even after taxes, that's still millions of 20s. So now you're rich, but you wrote a book. You don't know about anything but the book you wrote. But somehow, every time we watch them in the news, we watch them in culture, we're like listening to them for an opinion that is not the thing that got them rich. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that feels crazier by the day, because crazier and crazier people keep getting rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Okay, like someone like a William Randolph Hearst, right? Like someone who's like old rich, like black and white rich. Remember that? Just in the no color pictures of them rich. You know what I'm talking about? You can't find a single color picture. If there's them in color, that's AI, because they were before color. So then people who were rich before colors came out, I will extend the olive branch to them that maybe they knew more stuff because they had to know a wide range of things, and there was also less stuff to know in a way. Internet hadn't been invented yet. You could go to the library, but they had whole Dewey Decimal Systems that really just sometimes slowed you down instead of helped you, because then you're like, why am I going by 3.5 instead of just tell me the title? And then they also couldn't look it up like regular, so you had to use the system. They couldn't be like, oh, it's right over there, because the computer says, because computers weren't out yet and you didn't have color. So life was harder. And so I think someone who was very well-rounded and got into business and had a bunch of different businesses could be very smart, could be someone who could answer questions outside of just their field, right? Present day, just present day is harder. It's harder to be smart about everything because everyone has access to almost everything. It also depends on how you made your money. Did you make your money from inventing something? Did you write a book? Did you start a company? And then the company was really successful. So successful, you could buy another company. And then now you have like 3 subsidiary companies under you. They're all doing well. Your big company's doing well. You're very successful. You know what to do when it comes to business. That doesn't mean you know anything about, like, I don't know, the environment. But maybe you made your money millions, maybe even a couple billion from buying with some starter money, some funding from people. You bought like a pharmaceutical company, and this pharmaceutical company didn't really do anything, and none of the drugs really worked, but you told everybody that they did. You told everybody that they did. You told everybody in a level that kind of made you like a snake oil salesman, like, oh, it's gonna come out soon and it's gonna fix everything. And then people were like, it's gonna fix everything? That's crazy. Almost nobody ever says that because that's pretty illegal to like tell people something's going to do something, then that's fraud. So for you to be like doing fraud on the news with your full chest, your company must really do that. And so then you get more investors, you keep doing rounds of, investing, you build up the company, and then it gets to the point where you're like ready to go public with nothing really. You don't even really have a company and the drugs don't work. But you can either go public and then try to sell the company, you can just try to sell the company outright, and then now you get to leave with the money you made from the company that somebody else bought. You scammed. You were scamming. And some people are very good at scamming. Some people are very smart scammers. Like when you watch the documentary later about their scam, you're like, wow. Wow, incredible. Good scamming. It wasn't my money. Delicious. So some people have scammed their way into millions or billions of dollars. Some people have earned it in the way that you can earn it through creating something that people in the market want. So then that builds some money up. And some people just come from money. Some people already had money, but you just didn't know who they were because like their parents had sense enough not to try to be famous. So then they passed them a whole bunch of money, and then they showed up one day and they were like, I'm money. And then it's like, oh, okay, did he make all that money to just have money out of nowhere like that? It's like, no, he's actually really rich. And then you get what we have, like I had a friend who was talking to me about Elon and was saying he's like this like super genius. He's like this super nerd genius. And I was like, oh, what makes you say that? Like what? Like why would you say that or something like it? Like what makes you think? Like what makes you think he's a super genius? I'm just curious, right? I wasn't even hating. I was just genuinely like, what makes you say that? And he's like, just like Tesla and everything that he's trying to do with Mars and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, plenty of people try to go to Mars. And that's actually pretty common. I know plenty of people who smoke up on a Friday thinking they can make it to Mars, and some of them go. Some of them have been there. I have been in rooms with people so high out of their mind that you're like, you at least at Venus. There is no way. You stopped it. Okay. All right. Oh, I was trying. And trying is important. Everyone, look, if you have a dream, you should try. I want that for everybody. But trying isn't doing. He's not doing Mars. He's trying to go to Mars. He's trying to go to Mars. Also, Tesla, I'm pretty sure he bought that company, so he's smart enough to buy. He's smart enough to like use his money to buy something. I don't know if that makes you a super genius. So you can only equate like money with wisdom or being intellectual for so long before the bill sort of comes due. If you're so smart, what are you going to do with it? If the answer is just make more money, then like we don't need you. You know what I mean? And I say this because I was watching the news, and I don't even know why this was the B-roll that the news used, but it was a yacht, and I got mad. And I need to be clear here. I didn't get mad because it was like someone had a yacht and I want a yacht. I've joked about wanting a yacht. I don't want a yacht. what would I do with a yacht? Like, what would I even do? You know what I mean? I'm not mad that they had a yacht. I'm mad at the yacht. Do you know what I mean? Look, I don't care if you're rich and then you bought a yacht. I care that the yacht was dumb. This is a dumb yacht. This was, I think it was like $50 million, something like that, but it's a $50 million already. $50 million on a boat. That's like technically not a boat, it's a yacht, but it's a boat. It still does boat. It's a boat. It's a boat. You need to be in water for it to do its job. It's a boat, and a $50 million. And then the boat had a pool. The yacht had a pool. So you basically spent $50 million on a bucket. It's a bucket. It's a bucket in the water. That's crazy. That's so dumb. That's why you shouldn't have the money. It's not even for like I wish I was coming to you for like a moral reason of like, I can't believe it. I can't believe someone would spend $50 million on a yacht while there are people starving in their country. I'm not even trying to appeal to you like your morality or anything. I'm saying that if you spend $50 million on a boat with a pool in it, you're in the water. You're in the water. The water's here. The water. You're surrounded by water, and you're like, no, but I don't want that water. That's why you should have nothing. Actually, that's why I hope for nothing for you, because to need a pool, you're in the water. If you fell overboard, you'd be able to swim. You want to go for a swim? Just tip over. You'll be swimming. And instead, you had a pool put on a boat. You had a pool installed on a boat. You had different water in your boat with the water surrounded. That is an I don't want to get up to get the remote level of lazy to swim. I could fall overboard and swim and maybe drown, or I could have a pool. I could have a pool and swim in that and maybe drown, and maybe and maybe you will, and maybe I hope you do. Like it's a pool on a boat. Sounds like a riddle. Why would you? Then swimming in it, swimming in it just to get out and be like, oh, I think I'm gonna go look at the water. A yacht with an infinity pool on it. A yacht with an infinity pool. You know what else is an infinity pool? You know the original infinity pool? You know the first infinity pool? It was a pool so big, people thought there was an edge and you would fall off. That's how big the actual infinity pool was that you're in right now, but you wanted your own. And then on the yacht, this thing will be like $50 million. And then they'll give you a little tour of the yacht. I've watched a tour of a yacht before, because sometimes I hate watch things, because sometimes I have a lot of like hate in my heart, and you would think the only way to get hate out is with love, but sometimes it is with an overwhelming portion of hate. Like when you actually indulge in the hate, and then you have so much hate that it is spilling out of you, and then you look at all the hate on the floor and you're like, that was too much, let me not do that again. But for the level of hate that I had, I did watch a whole like Lifestyles of Rich and Famous type thing, let me tour my yacht, right? And so the whole time they were touring the yacht, he was showing me basically an apartment, which is kind of cool, but it's only cool because it's a yacht. If we were on land, you'd be like, oh, you're middle class. Like that's what's so insane about a yacht, is that it's like you get a tour of the yacht, and already there are things that, like, just to be on the yacht make you uncomfortable. So they'll have like 3 tiers, right? And they'll be walking around the boat, and you see even the cameraman trying to follow the rich person trying to tour the yacht. There's not enough room between the rail and the side of the first floor apartment for you to really walk. So now he's over here being like, we got this one in 2015. Cameraman's trying not to fall overboard, and then he takes you inside and he's like, here's the bed, and the bed is like, fine. It's bed. It's a bed. A bed. It's not mind-blowing. It's not even $50 million worth of bed. It's just a bed with some floor next to it. So far my mind isn't blown. Nobody's floating. Nobody's like floating in midair and making it look like a experience worth $50 million. And then, you know, they go up to the next level and they're like, oh, and we have a kitchen here. And it's like, the kitchen isn't a kitchen. It's like a kitchenette. Just like as someone who has lived in Brooklyn for a long time, this is my apartment. Maybe that's also why I'm upset. You put my apartment on a boat and then paid $50 million for it, and we're supposed to think that you're smart. No. No. Why? No, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's also like you're giving yourself away. You already are willing to buy a $50 million yacht while there are people struggling in every country in the world. It really doesn't matter where you're from. And I'm not even telling you what to do with your money. I'm just saying, just know that about yourself, that you're willing to buy a $50 million yacht and show it off as people are struggling in your country, whoever you are, whatever country this is. If you know, right? But then to be like, oh no, I'm just gonna be in international waters for like a kitchenette amount of time. All right, that sounds like crime. That sounds like... You kind of admitted to me that whatever you plan to do something illegal. You're like, no, I'm gonna need a lot of supplies and a kitchenette. And I don't even know why I got mad about this, but they had a shower, but the shower wasn't like a shower. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, you've been in a nice hotel room with a shower, and you've been like, oh, this is great. And you could, the shower looked a little like prison. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been to prison, but I've watched some documentaries. And the shower, just like, because they were trying to make it sound like it had all these features. They were like, you know, you can get the waterfall. There's also, a spout that shoots this way, and then you have the one that's like mounted into the wall that just shoots across. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. But in the world of showers, I've taken a lot of showers in my life, right, every day, and the shower shooting across either screams high school gym or prison. Like, it's the shower shooting across, just a perpendicular shower is not luxury. Floor to ceiling glass, and glass as the floor and glass as the ceiling, so you can look down. So you can look down and be like, look at all the fish. Look at all the, what a mind-breaking, look at all the fish that are passing by. It's like an aquarium. It's like my aquarium. I guess the world is like my aquarium. It's like, no, you're in the aquarium, you idiot. You're the one. You're actually the one that's boxed in. You moron. You're the one that's in the glass. How does that appeal to you? You're the glass. Like, you're the fish. You're the fish. You are the fish. The fish are swimming by like, what is, oh wow, I didn't know we got a zoo. I had no idea that we had a zoo. You're the fish. That's crazy. For the glass. All glass. And fish swimming by, wondering, wow, even the fish are like, this is what you do with $50 million. Okay. All right. I mean, live your life, you know. I think that's also why I got so mad, is because it's like you bought this $50 million yacht and you're not just greedy, you wasted it. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna spend $50 million, impress me. You know, make me go, wow, yeah, that's definitely better than feeding people. Do you know what I mean? It's $50 million. You should be able to get some dope stuff for $50 million and not just have a Brooklyn apartment on water that's shaped like a bucket. You know what I mean? It's just wasted $50 million. All right. I'll let it go. I was angry enough about it, and I just needed to let it out. But it's like, at $50 million, like, just the land. You could buy acres of land. You could own a forest. You could own a forest and everything in it. You could go to a forest that you bought with your millions of dollars and walk right up to Bambi and be like, I own you now. Like, that's... You could do that, and instead you're like, no, it's nice to almost drown in a boat. That happened one time. There was a guy who had a yacht, and he had a pool in his yacht, and I don't know if he got like caught cramp or something, but he did like drown in his pool in his yacht. And I read about that, and I was like, and it's probably not a good response to have. That's not nice at all. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do what I did. But the laugh escaped. It wasn't like, I wasn't reading being like, ooh, I hope I see that. I was just reading, and then it was like, oh, and okay. Wow. Because it's just, it happened, I think, because we became so genuinely obsessed with money. Like, the U.S., America, we start out as a sort of land of opportunity. People would come here for a fresh start. Usually it was like a fresh start. It wasn't actually like this land. We have like a money-hungry revisionist history of why people came here. There were people that came here because of religious persecution and for like a fresh start. Because you could get off a boat and just tell them your name was Larry, and they'd be like, all right, and then they'd write it down. There was no, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if you get that in human history ever again, to just show up and be like, no, I'm Dave. I don't even know who you're. That's how we got like murderers. Like, there was a whole theory that like Jack the Ripper may have come to the US. That's how fresh of a start you could get. You could flee London after some of the most horrific crimes known to man, show up at Ellis Island, and even say, yeah, I'm Jack. Like, just, you could even tell them that, and they'd be like, all right, good to go. Mr. Rapar? And people would do their best, and people would try to build themselves up in spite of all different types of persecution, because that was a time in America where like white wasn't even white yet. That is crazy, right? White was not, if you were Irish, it was like, you're what? You know what I mean? Like, it was, like, I've been reading about it in history. Italian, you would be Italian, they'd be like, oh. I don't even know who was white. Looking back at it, it's like, I guess if you were British, but then if you were too British, they were like, I don't think you're loyal to this country. You accent all thick. Just hate. Everybody was hating everybody. Everybody had to build up as best as they could. They came here, especially people who came here with nothing, and then they built themselves. And look, this is where we really started to go awry, on top of already like having slavery and stuff like that. We started to build a system where as long as there was someone beneath me, I was like, I'm fine. It started to become more about who's under you than you even doing well for yourself. It's the thing you see echoed today, where there are people who are not doing well, but as long as this person's doing worse, then they're fine, you know? And as you build up, as you have more and more money, as you can pass down more and more money to your kids and everything, as you can one day be so rich that you pass down the money, and then you pass away, and then your kid shows up at the news one day to be like, I'm money. Like that, like, that kind of turned into what the American dream was. It went from like land of opportunity, get a little slice of this place for yourself, really build something, be able to take care of yourself and your family, and it became like, are you rich? People wanted to be rich so bad that we looked at anybody who was rich as wise, that we need to do whatever it is they're doing to get where they are, because I want to be where they are. Never mind their sort of moral character, never mind how they treat people, or even how they got that money. They have $100 million. I want $100 million. I'll do whatever they tell me to do. The type of person that was willing to tell the masses how to get $100 million was not actually telling them that. They were like telling them how to give me $200 million. And I think it doesn't become apparent how crazy that level of wealth is always, because we're used to these people as characters. Right? So like you're used to like a Zuckerberg as an idea of a person, because he is an idea of a person. You know what I mean? Like no, look. I'm saying that he is his idea of a person. Like you could, this isn't coming out right. I'm saying that he is doing a perfectly fine first impression of a person. I'm saying, I want you to hear me when I say this. I'm saying that, you know how when your 4-year-old draws you, that's what he's doing as a person. Like he is, as a person, Mark Zuckerberg is being like, hello. That's what people say, right? Hello. And so he has, you know, over $100 billion. And I think we can fathom that money, but we can't. Even when you try to count it, even when people make charts and they're like, guys, a billionaire doesn't even fit on the chart, right? You'll still see someone who is incredibly wealthy, and they only have like, we know them from being rich, and they only have like $500 million. Like that's how crazy it is. It's like they're halfway to 1/100th of where Zuckerberg is. I think that's why I get so frustrated when I see the news, because like you're watching the news and you're watching someone like Zuckerberg be on the news, and you're like, why? What could he possibly have to say that should be on the news? And here we're like, clearly stations are on sides, networks are on sides, right? But no matter what side, they can't just be like, this should never happen. And that's because we let rich people buy up all the news. So now a rich person owns the news. And so even if a journalist, someone who went to school to be a journalist, and someone who would like to tell people the truth as they find it out, they would like to do what they do in France, where in France they're like, this is the news in French, and then they want to do that but in English for us, and then someone comes up to them right before they go live on air and they're like, oh, don't say it's bad though, just say it's happening. You know? And so you see Zuckerberg have this huge data center that's gonna decimate everything around it, you know, and why? Like truly why? I don't think we know. We're watching these people, watching 5 companies basically prop up the S&P 500. S&P 500 is made of, I think, 500 companies. Like, make no mistake, without those 5 companies, the market would be correcting. It would be wherever it is supposed to be because of how the other companies are doing, which is how most companies are doing, which means it's how most of America is doing. But we've propped it up with these 5 companies. These 5 companies have gone all in on AI, and they've gone all in on AI in a way that functionally does not make sense. You know, you look at Sam Altman, another candidate for person. You know what I mean? Like Sam Altman only looks confused when you ask him a moral question. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a look. All right, I shouldn't even really talk about this, but it was wild. I watched like Tucker Carlson interview Sam Altman, and Tucker Carlson kind of implied, he was like, "Hey, there was that OpenAI whistleblower who basically said that y'all were violating copyright law and like stealing a bunch of information and everything, and then he died mysteriously. What do you think about that?" It's weird to watch Tucker Carlson unleashed on somebody you hate. Like, it's... It's like when the bulldog that you've been scared of in your neighborhood your whole life finally bites your bully. You're kind of like... They seem to be canceling each other out right now. I guess if he was gonna bite anybody, it's good that it's him. And you see Sam Altman like clam up. Here's the thing. I am not saying, can I be 100% with y'all? Can I be really honest with y'all? I am not saying at all that Sam Altman had anything to do with that young man's death. I am saying that interview didn't not make it look like it though. Like that. I try my best not to judge people because sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna react like or do next in a certain scenario, right? And I think too often what we do to people is we say, I know they did this thing because of this thing, right? But all I'm saying is when you watch the interview, here's the thing. If I didn't like someone, right? I would be like, what? What kind of accusations? What are you trying to say? What are you? He asks him, and Sam is like, better start saying words soon. One of two things needs to happen in the next millisecond. Either you need to start saying, profusely that you had nothing to do with this, and everything, like you need to really stake your claim that like you had nothing to do with this, and you're maybe even very upset by the line of questioning or something. Or if you are a robot, now would be a good time for your face to like open up, like Men in Black style, and have like a little alien be like, "How dare you?" Right? Like that would be great. Because this, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't get caught cheating. This is asking you about murder, right? No, none of that. Just a lot of like, it was very sad, and we, actually no. I was just, it's just, I don't even know how to react because I've never been accused. And then Tucker quickly goes, "I'm not accusing you of anything." Tucker be like, "I'm not, hey." Tucker act like he on a roller coaster at his own interview. What? What? No, I'm not. That's concerning, right? Someone could beg the question, right? And then, look, to be fair, I didn't watch the entire interview. Maybe he came out with a very convincing answer 20 minutes later. But the substantial portion that I watched didn't look great. And I don't know. We have, OpenAI with Sora, with ChatGPT. We have these large language models that are basically meant to take us to like the next level. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that. It just doesn't seem to be the case that it's taking us to what was promised, right? We were promised almost a higher consciousness. We were promised to be able to do our jobs with ease. And then in the backdoor deals, companies were promised that they'd be able to fire all of us. You know what I mean? There were always two simultaneous pitches. One, the pitch to us was like, this is going to improve your life. It's going to make you more efficient. It's going to be faster. It's going to get rid of menial tasks. The pitch to our bosses was like, he'll be out of here in like 3 months. Come on, man. And so far, AI is failing on both those fronts, because we aren't elevated to some new form of consciousness. If anything, AI is giving people psychosis. Plenty of people have AI psychosis and becoming like more normal quicker than people are realizing it's happening. And here's a good test of the psychosis, right? If they talk to the AI like a friend, that's it. Did they name it? Is it called ChatGPT, but they called it Clarence? Then yes, they're in it now. If you're here and you're like, don't talk about Jan like that, you need to break loose. I pray for healing in your life, that you can break the psychosis. Because these large language models, they are imitations of what it would be like to connect with a person. It's not connecting with a person. It's doing an imitation of a person, and it's doing a better imitation of a person than we've seen so far. Even Zuckerberg can't touch the level of imitation of a person. This is why people think they're talking to a friend. And the understanding is that AI is going to destroy the planet. It needs so much energy to make a video of Pikachu pulling a cop over. The actual model, like you look at Sora, right? Because they just released Sora, and it can do all these things. It can like make Martin Luther King rap or whatever. Like it can do all of these like very weird things that nobody asked for. And apparently, every single one of those things costs OpenAI $5 to make. So like when people are just playing around on the thing and they're just like, look, I made Bob Ross high five Gandhi, $5. All right? So they are burning through money. We don't have a sustainable system for the energy. So why keep doing this thing? The theory is that they are doing it because they believe that when they get there, this thing will essentially be some sort of like all-knowing, all-understanding, thinking further, thinking light years ahead of us. It'll basically be God, right? And if they could like own God, then maybe they will be like a God, right? Because you'll basically have the company. You'll have the company that tells you every move to make in the market to own other companies, every move to make to protect yourself from other companies that are come after you. You would be done. You would be, you know what I mean? And that's terrifying. That's a terrifying idea. that not only that someone would want that, but that they would barrel towards it at the risk of burning up the planet, of taking up all of the water, like it's an insatiable need for like power, for control, for influence. And then you watch the news and you see that these same people, these people that don't even know how to act like people, spend millions of dollars on a yacht that is basically a bucket. It's a bucket. It is. That's how you know they don't know anything. This is what you spent the money on, knucklehead?
I don't know about y'all, but I just paid my taxes and they got me. Oh, they got me good. Oh, they got me real good. I was wondering if they would get me. And then they were like, no, we didn't forget about you. We think you're special. We would never forget. And I know they charged me extra. They got me charged me extra because they know I won't survive jail. So they're like, he gonna pay it. Just write a number. He'll make it happen. It's been great traveling this week. I've been able to go to Milwaukee, Madison, now Minneapolis and everything. When I was in Madison, there was something sort of curious that was happening. You know, I like being in Minneapolis because y'all smile an appropriate amount. You smile when something good is happening. You know what I mean? When I was in Madison, there were so many errant smiles. There were people just looking forward like, huh? I've never been in a city. I told them this too. I told them this to their face. I was like, y'all all walk like you walk into the light. Like, this is crazy. I try to be a jolly person, but this is insane. Nah, man, what? It was wild. And when I was there, I like when people are happy. I hope to make people happy, but when people got a little bit too much of it going on, I do have to get to the bottom of it. You know? And so I did do a couple things. It's something I like to do in any city when I see too many people smiling when I get there. I immediately go to that city's Yelp. Because I'm like, there are problems here somewhere. We just have to find where they are. You know what I mean? Not everything is a 5-star experience. Not everybody gonna give a 5-star. And it didn't take long. I found a 1-star. I won't name the establishment, but the review simply said, their old fashions taste like barbecue sauce. Let's be clear about something. You have to have such a fundamental understanding of how old fashions and barbecue sauce taste to take a sip of alcohol and go, nah, that's Sweet Baby Ray's. I know Sweet Baby Ray's. When I taste it, you're not slick just because you thinned it up a little bit. Oh, it's tough too, because when you're dealing with some of this happiness in different places, you wonder, did y'all get taxed? Do you know what I mean? They must have skipped over y'all if y'all so happy all the time. And I think sometimes taxes feel extra difficult because when you pay them, you feel like you're paying them for everything that happens next, not to pay for the life you were living up until that point. Does that make sense? Like it's like when you pay rent, you're paying rent to keep living there. But when it comes to taxes, you're mostly paying for everything that already happened, that you already enjoyed or didn't enjoy, depending on the city. And I think that if you got something back with your taxes, let's say you pay your taxes, they give you that tax return and everything. You can read all the numbers, why they say you owe what you owe or why you got back what you got back. And then they list next to that what they paid for with it. That might make people feel a little better. because we don't know where our tax dollars go exactly. So then something happens and you feel like you're paying for that, and you're like, this isn't what I paid for. And somebody should tell you, oh no, this isn't on you. That's not, that wasn't your money. You know what I mean? Like, paying taxes as part of a country feels like when the bill comes and you got to split it, but you only got wings. Like, hey, I got 6 wings. All right, there are 6 sets of bones in my basket. I didn't take any errant bites or anything. And some of y'all are alcoholics. I am not prepared to split this bill with you. You have your barbecue sauce old fashions. You have your... Not down for this. Because everybody's having some money troubles right about now. I mean, from all different ways. People are getting squeezed in lots of different directions, Like, we already know tariffs are almost old news now. But the fallout isn't. The fallout is fresh. The Dow has only dropped by 1,000 points 11 times in history. And 4 of them were in like the last 2 months. Like, this is very bad. If this were a roller coaster, this would be the part of the ride where your neck breaks. Like, this is... Engineers don't build this way. This is not safe. And you see it through the tariffs. I've talked about it before, but those people on the money channels, they're still a bit nervous. Still freaking out, They still come on every day. One of my favorite things about watching them now is they talk to us like we're the news. They're there doing the news, but they looking right in the camera like, I don't... What y'all think? Oh, it's bad. Like just this week, you had people losing money in all sorts of ways. I mean, Christie Noem. Christie Noem was at a restaurant, got her bag stolen, right? And I don't know. It is wild. Okay, because then you have to... Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Okay, so then when you report your bag as stolen, right, and you gotta list the contents of your bag, her bag had her driver's license in it, had her passport in it. She had $3,000 in cash in her bag. $3,000 in American dollars. $3,000 in cash. What you doing, Christie? That's $3,000. North American, South of Canada dollars. She had $3,000. That would make sense if this was like the 90s. It's the 90s. You got it like that. You got 3,000 on you. Okay, you might see a food truck, want to treat the town. $3,000 in cash in 2025. $3,000 in the year of our Lord Apple Pay. If I had been the cop that she reported to, that the business, and she told me, Listen in the back. Oh, my DHS badge, my passport, my driver's license. So much stuff was in there. I had a couple of Jolly Ranchers, and oh yeah, $3,000 in cash. I'd be like, oh, do you rap or something? Like, why do you have that much cash on you? No, she had $3,000 in cash. But the kicker for me was she had a bunch of blank checks. I don't even have to, yeah. You still write checks. In 2025, you just got that blank check on you just in case something pop off, and $3,000 in cash isn't enough. This is the most prepared to be mugged individual I've ever seen in my entire life. That is insane. You already got $3,000 in cash. Imagine you pull up on Christie Noem, you're like, give me everything. And then she's like, here, you about to walk away. And then for whatever reason, you don't know why, you just feel led for one moment. You look over your shoulder back at her, and she got a pen. You said give you everything, you know. A bunch of blank checks. I don't even know if the thief would know what to do. Like, there used to be whole departments dedicated to check fraud. And now it's like 2 dudes. People are not writing checks like that anymore. I bet you they dump the contents out. They're like, oh, we score. We got $3,000 in cash. We got her DHS badge. I'm sure she's going to want that back. We got her passport, her driver's license. Oh, we got everything. Why she got a bunch of little papers with her name on it? Some people so conceited. Oh, because I had an incident happen to me when I was in college, where I left for the break, and when I got back, the RA, resident assistant, comes up to me as soon as I get back on campus, and she's like, hey, I'm going to walk with you to your room. Now, you could get in trouble at the school I was in. It was a dry campus. You could get in trouble for like having alcohol in your room, or like if they found anything. Sometimes if there was even a whisper of something in your room, they'd at least want to check it out. And so I didn't know if maybe somebody had said something. I lived in my own room. I had my own like dorm room by myself. And so I was like, I know nothing should be in there that I don't know about, unless maybe I left it unlocked. Somebody put something in there. I don't know. So I'm kind of freaking out on the walk to get to my room. And then I go ahead, I open the door. And before I open the door, she's like, okay, don't freak out. And I was like, that's not how you start. It's the least helpful way. She's like, don't freak out. While people were gone on campus, there were a series of break-ins, and your room was one of the ones that was broken into. Right? Now, this isn't like me being like poor me, but everything I had is everything I had. Right? So I like the stuff that I left there, I have one of everything. Right? And same for the stuff at home. And so I'm opening the door thinking like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't have money to replace things that might be missing or broken, you know. So I open the door, and my room is trashed. It's like fully ransacked and everything. And then she's like, you just make a list, okay? Make a list of everything that's missing, and we'll figure out if like the like Department of Public Safety on campus and the school at large can like help you recover some of it, or maybe, who knows, maybe the school can like come up with the funds to help you get the stuff that was missing. And so I look around and I'm moving clothes out of the way and all this stuff. I opened my closet. They were in my closet too and everything. And it takes a little while, but quietly I realized to myself that they didn't take anything. This. Do you know how embarrassing it is to get your place broken into? And a thief is like, I'm good. What do you do? What do you do? I'm in my head, quietly walking around. RA is still standing in the doorway and everything. I'm getting defensive in my head. I'm like, all right, I got a couple of good DVDs. All right, they not Fight Club fans. Like, I got a PS1. I know the PS3 is out, but I had a 1. They could pawn that. They don't even have imagination. So finally the RA is like, so, anything? And I was like, yeah, they took my Gucci watch. I had 2 Chanel bracelets. You gotta put the bracelets down. Please write the bracelets down, okay? And I had about $3,000 in cash. It's difficult when people are feeling like they're squeezed so much financially. Like there are things that you have to pay. But the thing, I guess, that gets me sometimes when it comes to paying tax, I feel like some of the reluctance around it is that it feels like you work all year and then you get taxed for this money that's going to be spent on a bunch of things that you didn't agree to. It less like you worked all year and it's to pay for the things that we already enjoyed. Does that make sense? Like the framing of it, I think, is why people have such a problem. Like if you just sent back the tax return and then listed the stuff, I mean, we might be like, oh, I didn't know that I kept the bridge open. That's good. That's pretty good. I use that bridge every day. I'm glad it's not in shambles. That's fantastic news. You have to pay your taxes not just because the government is telling you to. It's not the government being some big bad meanie or something. It's you live here and you use the road, so maybe chip in so that it doesn't fall all the way apart, And like that's not to say, really quick, that's not to say that I just pay my taxes blindly and love it and never question where it's going, because it is your money as well. So you deserve to have some say in where it goes. That's why we elect people to Congress. It's why we pick the officials that we pick, even on a local level, because we're like, you work for me. You are my employee. And here are the things that I want to see. These are things that I don't want to see. It feels like in this moment, we're in a real predicament of, I guess the best way I can describe it is I used to work at a store, and when I worked there, they promoted this one guy that was like, one of us, one of the cashiers. They promoted him, and They really shouldn't have done it. They clearly weren't paying attention. Like I was barely a good employee, and he was worse than me by far. And they promoted him. I was like, that blows my mind. And I wasn't jealous. It wasn't like I wanted a promotion. I felt like my duties to my level of commitment were right on par. Like I was like, let me stack the grapes. Let me stock the shelves. Don't ask me to do more, and I promise not to do less. Okay. No. Yeah. But he was actively bad, and they promoted him. And a good example was he wanted to go to business school, and one of the assistant managers said, "Oh, I used to, go to business school. Like I graduated from business school. I tell you what, I will give you all my old business school books. I don't know how much of it will transfer, how much it will actually help you, but it can get you started before you actually start school. You might be able to learn some of the basic concepts. It'll help you." Right? And that was a very nice thing to do. He didn't need to do that. I respected that very, very much. He saw somebody with a dream. He wanted to help them along, And so he gave him these books. And I'm not even kidding. The next day, this dude comes to work and accidentally knocks over about a pallet's worth of wine because he was walking while reading the book. The book, I'm not even kidding, was called How to Understand Business. And this is who you promoted. We're in the business of selling groceries. We buy groceries from places, we hold them until people want to buy them from us, and then we sell them to them. We're in the business of buying and selling groceries. He will stand in direct conflict with our ability to buy and sell groceries. And you've promoted him. We're in a similar predicament now. As a country, we're in a similar situation because Pete Hegseth got in trouble again for the same thing from before. Basically, if you're not familiar, a bunch of people who are supposed to were using the app Signal to, talk about war plans. And, quick gist, they accidentally invited a journalist, and then the mission kicks off. They do the attack. The attack is successful, and everyone finds out, and they're like, "That was dumb. Don't do that again." And everybody was like, "We can't promise that. Like, that's not." Okay. Well, fast forward to rewind, we are in the same situation again, because unbeknownst to, I guess, anybody at the time, Pete Hegseth had not only been using Signal to discuss war plans, he had a whole other channel where he was just talking to his wife, his brother, and his personal attorney. And you couldn't. This is what genuinely bothers me. Like this is what actually upsets me about the whole thing. Some people are upset. They're like, "I can't believe they were discussing such sensitive information that should have been, they can say it's not top secret, they can say it's not classified, but it's at least something that we should hold tight until the mission happens." And he's just discussing it plainly on this app that could be hacked. And it's like those things. Discussing it with people who shouldn't know isn't actually my problem. Maybe this is my own hot take, but I feel like that sort of thing happens all the time. I think anyone who's like married to someone in government, anyone who's married to someone high up in any business knows some things that they're not supposed to know. Yeah. That's like human, actually. You don't think Michelle Obama? You don't think Michelle Obama was kept up at night knowing stuff she wasn't supposed to know? Do you know what I mean? You think Michelle Obama was in the White House like, "Barack, what's wrong?" And then Barack was like, "It's classified." No.
don't think that happens. You know, I'm sure Michelle was in the White House minding her own business, you know, eating a veggie plate. Barack halfway kicks open the door. I've had it up to here with them. Okay? They want to kill everybody. They want to blow the world up. Now you sitting there, you Michelle, you like, oh, I don't even want my carrots anymore. Oh, no. The thing that bothers me is that Pete just couldn't be professional, you know, and wait for an hour till he got home to tell her in person. Like, just do it the way people normally do it. Walk in the door, be like, you won't believe. Like, that's the way you do it. But when I pay my taxes, I do get upset when I see it blatantly being misused. You know, like when Pete Hegseth is supposedly building a $40,000 studio in the Pentagon to do his makeup before he goes on TV. I'm like, that, even a dollar of that is mine, I'm very upset. Like, I'm not saying I'm the whole 40, but like, that's so insane. Secretary of in the makeup room. Should he be at war? Like, every once in a while, you come into contact with somebody that you know from. You know in a personal way, and eventually, maybe this has happened to some of you, you turn on local news and you see them. And you're like, I knew it was going to be something. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the 8 o'clock, the 10 o'clock news, but they did something. You see that mug shot and everything. When I was in Chicago, I worked with this dude at our job, in the break room, we had a light sensor for the light switch. So you could just press it, lights come on, or, if nobody was in there or if you didn't move for long enough, lights go off, right? And one day, I'm walking into the break room, take my break, lights are off, I walk in, lights come on, and he's sitting there, already in the break room, eating barbecue. And let me go out on a limb right now and say that if you eat barbecue in the dark, you are a murderer, okay? You're already guilty in my mind. If you are that comfortable with bones in the dark, there's no telling what else you're capable of. If you are that comfortable slipping and sliding on your teeth and tongue, barbecue is messy enough in the light. You should have seen his face when the lights came on. It was insanity. And then I walk in and he not even, if it were me, and that happened, because I try to put myself in his shoes. I try to be empathetic. I'm like, okay, let's say you eating barbecue in the break room on your break, right? Kind of a heavy meal for a 15-minute break, but to each their own, you know what I mean? You go be sleepy when you come back, but I want everybody to enjoy their life. So let's say you're eating barbecue in the break room, and you are somehow doing it so still I'm not saying he should be hitting the rib like corn on the cob. You know what I mean? I'm not like I'm not saying he should be digging into it with his face. Like, in case you're wondering, that is, at least in my mind, the sound you make when you eat barbecue in the dark. Like that. If you eat barbecue in the dark, you don't eat it like the rest of us. The rest of us chew like civilized people, but if you in the dark eating barbecue, you are wilding out. You're doing whole other sounds and effects that the rest of us don't do, you know? I'm not saying that you need to be doing a bunch of extra movements when you eat your barbecue. I'm just saying if you're doing it so still, you know, munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. Munch, 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 munch. Munch, munch, yum. Munch, 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 munch. If you're doing it so subtle that a light sensor, that technology was like, ain't nobody in the room. And then they decide to shut the lights off on you, and you still did not feel led to change the conditions of your meal. If you were eating barbecue in the break room and then the lights go off and you're like, that's even better. That tells me you're not right in the head. Something is going on with your mind or your spirit. Something is evil in you. Munching away. And then you think to yourself, oh, what if someone walks in? What if someone walks in and feels like, this is awkward. This is weird. I would hate for them to judge me and my entire personality based off of one instance, you know? Maybe I should get up and paw my way, if the lights don't come on, to the light switch and press it so the lights come on and the room is once again filled with God's holy light. I even tried to extend that olive branch and be like, you know what? He probably didn't want to get barbecue sauce on the switch. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he thought if he was flinging his hands, he'd get barbecue sauce on the walls. That would look even scarier because now I walk in, the wall's red, you got a bone in your hand, you munching away. Really try to put myself in that headspace. Try to be fair to him. And after I got through thinking all those thoughts, I was like, nah, the whole thing was weird. No, I was right. It's insane. Okay. Side note. I left that job, right? And one day I was catching up with a different coworker. I was telling them what happened, right? I was like, hey, I was super weird. Like I get in there and, you know, he'd been in the dark, so he wasn't fazed. It wasn't like something just happened and I walked in right after or whatever. And they were like, oh, you know what? I didn't want to tell anybody, but the same thing happened to me. Which means on a different day, this man was eating barbecue so gentle that he lost the light again. And this dude, okay, so look, so my coworker told me, they were like, no, okay, so when I walked in, that light, I think, was genuinely broken because I walked in and it was still dark. Like it didn't just come on because I swung the door open, right? So we at least know now he didn't turn the lights off on himself. Because I did worry about that. I did worry that man took his break, went to the break room with his barbecue, knew what he was about to do, knew how unchristian he was about to behave.
set the barbecue down on the table and was like, nobody needs to know. But yeah, so apparently there was a problem with the light in the break room, and they were like, yeah, but when I walked in, he was eating the barbecue, and I'm pretty sure he was choking. Which would make you feel bad for him for a second, until you really put yourself in that situation. Because if you walk in to a dark room, you assume nobody's in there. And the sound of someone choking on barbecue in a dark room does sound like a demon. It does sound. If you walk in and so no, do it real quick. Close your eyes. Close your eyes real quick. I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Piece of brisket getting caught in the back of your throat, and now you sound like Beelzebub. No. And so then when the light when the light from the door spilled in, they saw him, and they couldn't really make him out because they were kind of blocking the light themselves, just standing in the doorway. And they said that they just saw him like eating in the corner. Which, why are you facing the wall? I forgot to mention that. That happened to me too. He was facing the wall. It's already dark. You don't need to worry about being seen. But he's facing the wall going. I was like, what did you do? What did you do when that happened? And they were like, I thought it was a demon. I yelled out loud, I rebuke you. And then I closed the door. Oh, man. So then, you know, I'm chilling in my apartment in Chicago and watching the news. And I see a mugshot with a familiar face who had been arrested for trying to rob a barbecue restaurant. It's especially tough right now because I think people are getting squeezed from more angles than we thought was possible, right? It's like, you know, wages aren't increasing, jobs are hard to come by because of layoffs. Some of the layoffs are like the seasonal layoffs when, you know, companies restructure and everything, things that we're actually used to. But then some of them are people losing their jobs in government. Some people are losing their jobs in the private sector in place of potential like AI advancements and stuff, all while you have the tariffs going on. And I truly believe that some of it is preventable. Obviously, there's going to be ebbs and flows with every economy. There's going to be ebbs and flows with every country throughout its history of how rich it is or how markets fluctuate. Some of these are unforced errors, and some of these are things that just happen, but it's all happening at one time, you know? And I think very basically, I wish everyone could agree on it, but we're not there yet, that just by being human, just by virtue of being alive, you deserve access to basic necessities, the most basic of things, right? And especially if you're working. If you are working full time and you're still struggling to get the basic, we're talking about food, water, and shelter. We're talking about the most basic things. And I think sometimes when you bring up the people who are having a rough time, they're having a rougher go of it than is just, right? Life isn't fair, but you build the scale so that things can level out, so that they can be just. And when you talk about people who are having a rough time, who need extra help to try to get level, and they're working, they're doing their best. I think people conflate that with people who want luxuries or they want something for free. These people are already working. We are the hardest working country in the world. We clock more hours than anybody else, and we every year have less and less to show for it. We have less to show in healthcare, we have less to show in education and possibility of upward mobility. Every year we work harder, and every year we have less. We take less vacation days than pretty much anyone in the world, and for all of our hard work, we are not seeing the fruits of our labor. And there are people who will tell you, oh, but if you just work a little bit harder, if you just do it this way, oh, I'm smart, I figured it out, you will too. It's people who are not addressing the fact that everyone does not get a fair shake. You know, like, you only need to look at me as an example. You don't think I want to be in the NBA? I did everything that I was supposed to do. I ate my greens. All right, I shot the ball. I did the running. I did everything. But trust me, if I show up to an open tryout and shoot my shot for whatever team will have me, they will be calling security. All right. And finances work in a similar way. I'm not coming down on anybody who came up well, went to a good school, and then through that good school, you made a connection which got you your job, which affords you your lifestyle. I'm not saying you don't work hard. I'm saying everyone doesn't have that same opportunity, you know? And I think that at the very basis, right? At the very basis of food, water, and shelter, people get it in their head that even shelter means, oh, a lavish house or something. Lavish. I'm not talking about lavish things. I'm talking about enough to get by. Everyone is fighting to get by. When you talk to people who don't have about what they just want to be level. You know, they're not asking for expensive, lavish things like outdoor furniture. Patio furniture is ridiculously expensive. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's literally outside. You don't even want it in your home. It's almost trash. I don't care how comfortable it is. You literally let it get rained on. You know, you buy it from a store and then you bring it inside for a second just to take it out to the backyard and leave it there. And it's too expensive. It's crazy. In fact, when the outdoor furniture is inside, that's when you know it's bad. When I was living with some friends in college, their lawn chairs were the chairs. And I was like, we in a bad situation. We're not doing well. You got the patio furniture in front of the TV. We about to die tomorrow. Whew. Yeah. You know? It's bad. It's bad. And it shouldn't be this bad, you know? You work, you pay your taxes, those things should come back to benefit you, and it's still that there's a narrative that's going on that's got all of us really going after and arguing with each other as if there's limited resources, as if there's limited money, as if there's limited opportunity, and we know there's not. We know that there's actually plenty to go around, even with the hundreds of millions of us that are in this country. There's plenty to go around because we know how much billionaires have, because they make it known how much they have, you know? Like you see how much land they own, and you're like, that is a lot of people could live there. That's crazy. Or you know that CEO that said he wanted to own all the water. It's like, that's something you keep to yourself. What a sociopathic thing to say. Oh, I want all the water. You can't even drink it. What's wrong with you? That's what kills me. It's like people think that it's solely government. People think that it's their job. They think it's not. I promise it's not. And what really burdens me, what keeps me up at night, is that these people are siphoning all this money. They siphon it from the government. They get benefits from the government. They get tax cuts from the government. They siphon all this money. They siphon your wealth from you. They siphon it in wages by the fact that they don't increase. They siphon it off of like shrinkflation when they act like they cry poor and then they charge you more for less. They siphon all this money, all to what end? To have a few people have all that money, all of that money, more money than anyone will ever need in their lifetime. And you know it because they don't spend it. They siphon all of this money out. They are literally parasitic. And then they dress like me. That's so crazy. You have all the money in the world and you look like me. What are you doing? That's so crazy. Oh, it doesn't have to be this way. And I know sometimes you can feel powerless, especially when the big thing is happening, when the big thing is just going, you know. But it does, with a movement towards any action that is based in the people's wishes, it has to come to fruition in any instance. And you see it all over the world. You see people rise up in whatever form it takes to make their voices heard. And it's still very much possible. I know that there's a narrative out there that you're like a cog, that there's nothing you can do, and that you might as well just scrounge up as many pennies as you can to get by, and that'll be the best you can ask out of life. You know? It's to the point now where even people who cross over that $1 million threshold, they enter that tax bracket, they still feel that way. You could make $500,000. You could have $300,000 saved up, and you might sell something within your company, make another $200,000. You might cross that $1 million threshold, even by just a little bit, and still be like, I'm barely getting by. And people roll their eyes at that. They scoff at that. But the way that things are set up, unless you are uber rich, it's very easy to drop right out of that tax bracket. None of that is certain. You know, small business owners, some of them could be considered millionaires, but they'll tell you, they're like, my actual business and the people that I care for, the employees that I employ that depend on me for their benefits, for their livelihood, it's like we are month to month, right? So this structure doesn't end at just taking care of yourself. And it is why everybody, to the best of our ability, we have to be looking at the whole. The way that they play it is the way that benefits them every single time. Someone who's already a billionaire would love for you to just try to be like me. You can do it if you work hard enough. That's the narrative out there. They don't talk about how many government benefits they get, how many tax cuts they get, that they were born rich. They don't let any of that into the story because it would kind of ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's literally, it's up to you, because we're already there. We're already in a place where I don't see how things are just going to get better by themselves. People are putting burritos on layaway. That's insane. That's so crazy. There are apps now that they come to you and they're like, hey, we'll let you finance your lunch, dog. You know, pay $3 now, we got you. And they do. They have you. And they don't let go. And before you know it, it's been a month, and that burrito that was $12 when you didn't have it is $65 now when you're done paying for it. And it wasn't worth it. And it's siphoned more from you. The things that weren't already taken. They can take your wealth. They're taking it now. They cannot take your worth. If you know your worth, if you remember your worth and you fight for it every day and you fight for it with who you vote for, you go to your town halls and you speak to them and you let them know, we hired you. You work for us. We pay our taxes. Go tell them that this is done. It doesn't have to be this way. We can demand more. And the thing that we're demanding is not some sort of handout. We're demanding our work back to us in proportion for how hard we've worked. These people believe, they genuinely believe that they built this company up by themselves as if there's some idea truly as a self-made man. It's like, even if you built a company and you ship the things to the people and they love your product and they want more of it, and you think you're such a genius, there are people driving that truck. There are people packing up those packages. And then there's the road that you didn't build. You know? In what world should it be like this? That's crazy. And then the narrative gets put back on us that we deserve these pennies, that we deserve such a small share of the thing that we helped build. Look around. Really look around when you walk around your city. Really look around when you travel. Wherever you go in America, no matter who you are, we built this. We built this together. We built it. And I'm not even saying that these like titans of industry don't hold a part in it. I'm not discounting someone having an idea and through ingenuity bring it to fruition to the point where they employ people, to the point where people depend on them. But there are responsibilities that come with that sort of thing. You know, I wanted to start a candy company, and I was like, nah, I'm actually going to be a terrible boss. I'd be a terrible boss. You know, I'd be in there in the candy factory eating all the chocolate, making myself sick. And then when people come to the factory to look at our chocolate, they'd be like, the boss is in the bathroom throwing up again because he's a child that can't stop himself. And that's why I didn't start a business, because I was like, you know, there are other people that are better at it. It's tough. You know, you shouldn't be put in a position where you got to put barbecue that you eat in the dark on layaway. Like that's. There was one day I went to visit my grandma, and there was like a big old like living room type area where people be watching TV or just chatting or reading a book or whatever. And there was, do y'all remember the commercials for like a Rascal? If you don't know what a Rascal was, it was some direct-to-consumer marketing that was going on TV where you were old and you were in your little chair, but they made it feel like a motorcycle. They made you feel like you could really hit that throttle on them, right? And then you could go off-road with the Rascal too. Like you could just be going over tree trunks and stuff like that without tipping and stuff. And so there was a guy who looked like he had a new Rascal, right? And it wasn't going fast for us. Like, if you could walk, it wasn't going fast. But if you were in a wheelchair and you hit that throttle, you zooming, right? And so you could tell he couldn't really handle it because his head was back while he was. So my man's head was like all the way back. Like he really couldn't look up, and which is crazy because I swear he was going this fast. Like, but my man is like, ah, right? It was incredible. My man is just, ah. You know, and I'm sure in his mind, you know, because everything slows down a little bit as you get older, and now you go in walking speed again, and you haven't been walking for a while. So now all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is what I did when I was back in my 80s, right? So, because I don't know how old he was, but he was dusty, right? He was, you know what I'm talking about. Don't do that. I'm not being mean. It's just at a certain age, no matter who you are, at a certain age, once you hit those like 90, like once you get up in the 9 in the front of the number for your age, there's just a level of like, there's a level of ashy that is time. Y'all want to act like y'all know what I'm talking about, but y'all know that sometimes people get flaky. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Anyway,
So my man is zooming, right? He like, ah, and then on the other side of this corner leading to the living room is this other guy who's like in a proper wheelchair, but it has like some little modifications. So I guess it's not a traditional wheelchair. Like he's not fully pushing it himself, but it looks like it has like some little levers on it. I don't know what it was, but it felt like a knockoff Rascal. Like it felt, you know what I mean? Like it felt like somebody sold him some damaged goods where they were like, no, it's a Rascal. He's like, I don't see the throttle anywhere. Just keep looking. It's a Rascal. And so he's going like really, really slow. And as they're getting closer, you know those math problems? You know those math problems where like if a train, you know what I'm talking about, right? If a train leaves Detroit at 5, going 60 miles per hour, and then a train leaves Louisiana going 80 miles per hour at 7 o'clock, when will they crash? Because then even in school, they'd be like, when will it crash? I'd be like, this is a dark. Why can't it just be a delivery or something? You wrote the textbook and you putting crash. Now I gotta figure out when everybody's gonna die. I'm not even allowed to warn them in this scenario. But anyway, basically this dude has like, he's kind of turning the wheel, but it looks like it's assisted somehow, and the other guy's zooming, and then I'm standing at the corner and I'm like, who do I try to warn? Because in my head for a second I was like, they gonna miss each other because this guy's going way too fast. And then I realized that he going fast for him. He going walking speed for us, and then this other guy is going nowhere. Like very, very slow, right? And then, I'm not proud of it, but it took me so long to make a decision because I was bad at math. It took me so long to make a decision that they did collide when they both got past the corner. The fast one hit the slow one, and he tipped. And he didn't tip. This is the worst part, actually. So he didn't tip, like his chair didn't tip, right? He just tipped from getting hit, and then he fell the rest of the way out. But while he was falling, he was hanging on. Like while he was falling, he was like, no! So he's screaming no, like he don't want to fall. And to be honest, I had time to get to him, but I was so shocked that this was happening. And so then he kept falling to the point where one foot was on the ground now. I was like, ooh, you could stand up. There's still time to stand up. But then he had tipped like booty over knee, and then he was hanging, and then the chair was tipping to a point where I was like, the chair gonna fall on you. And then he just sort of let himself spill, but his butt was already on the ground, but he was still screaming like he was in the air. And then he finally let go of the little handle that was at the front, and then he laid back. And I was like, I probably could have done something. Because to be fair, it was going to happen whether I was watching or not. That moment had nothing to do with me. I was just a witness. And that's how I felt about the debate last night. Because whether you watched it or you didn't watch it, okay, I watched the whole thing. I watched it top to bottom, and okay. Everything happened that we, figured might happen. But this is the thing that I guess I can't get over. It happened so quickly. We were worried that like maybe an hour in, Biden might have like a senior moment or something. But he said, no, I'm gonna start slow and I'm gonna ratchet up. Because early, maybe second question, maybe first question, I can't remember, but he said something. And he was kind of trying to get through it. And when he was trying to get through it, he started looking down while he was trying to get through it. And then he stopped talking. I don't know if there's been a deeper silence in my life than when that man stopped talking. It was still his turn. He had stopped saying anything. And while he was not talking, I was talking. Like while he had been like, right? Like once he got here, when he was looking down, I was like, fall. Just fall. You'll clear this whole thing out if you fall right now. This man has had the nerve to fall every day, except that day there. I'm yelling at the screen, fall! If that man had fallen, we'd be having a different conversation right now, right? If he had fallen, they would have scooped him up on a stretcher, would have been like, look, the president had a great answer ready, but you know gravity is a Republican, so the odds were stacked against him. He's brave for even showing up against that red Republican elephant ass gravity. Oh, it was insane. I felt like I was going crazy because this is the thing that's infuriating, right? And I'll probably come back to it in a second, but the thing that I cannot get out of my head is that we all knew, and everything that happened is what we said would happen, and now pundits are talking to us on TV, on like legacy media, talking about what happened the way that we talk about what was gonna happen before it happened, and they want to convince us that they're worth watching. You ever tell somebody a story and then time passes and then one day they try to tell you your story like you didn't tell them the story, and you look at them like either you crazy or you think I'm crazy because I told you that. You're not bringing me any new information. That's what it feels like. It's like after the debate, I watched the after debate. And they were like, you know, he is older. These are the same people, by the way, who have been like, no, we have to chase him around the White House. We can barely keep up with them. And I knew they were lying then. Because that's the thing. It's like he did so poorly. It fully distracts from the fact that Trump didn't do well either. But you know how, okay. One time, I was with some friends, and we were headed to a party. We get there, and there's like two more friends that we're waiting on, and one of them is supposed to bring all the drinks, right? And one of my friends had already poured out a beer, was drinking his beer, and when we were stepping outside, because it was like it was like an outdoor in front of the house sort of event, we're all on the lawn and everything, we see one of our friends who was supposed to bring the drinks, right, crash right into a light pole, right? And right when he crashed into the light pole, we all screamed, and a couple people ran over there. And then my friend who had poured the beer was like, oh my God, I dropped my drink, right? On its own, not good. In reference to something much bigger happening, nobody ended up caring, right? And that's how it felt. Like it's insane. Like we are not crazy. We're not crazy. They're crazy. You know what I mean? We're not crazy. They're crazy. We said it already. They're crazy. They just don't listen. They don't listen. How do you not listen when it's everybody saying it? You know? Like, there was one time in particular where Biden was struggling to say something. And even Trump, even Donald Jail Trump, looked at Biden, and you could see it on his face. He was like, is this motherfucker all right? And you can tell because I've never seen this on Trump's face ever. Trump had an actual eyebrow arc of concern. I've never seen him have that ever. He's never looked as phased to me as when he was looking at Biden next to him going, is it? Like, it wasn't an act. Trump was genuinely wincing, which concerns me because he was the closest to him, which means something worse was going on in person close to him than what we even saw. We think we up close because the camera's zooming in. No, Trump hears him fighting to breathe. It felt so terrible. It felt like when you're a kid, when you're a little kid, and you get into it with another little kid, and they're bullying you, right? And you tell that kid, my dad could be your dad. And then maybe you go home, and maybe you go home with a shiner, maybe you go home with some cuts and bruises, and your dad asks what happened. And you're like, hey, this kid's been bullying me, right? And I tried to tell my teacher, and she didn't do anything. And so your dad's like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to school tomorrow, we're gonna sort this out. And maybe he goes to pick you up and settle things up with the teacher right when the bully's dad comes and tries to settle things up with the teacher too, because his kid told him a different story, you know? His kid told him, hey, this kid's school is being a bitch, so I had to hold him down and everything. And the teacher is like, look, everyone's here, maybe we can mediate. And so they do that thing that schools do where they don't really know how to help. You know what I mean? They're just like, if you could stop, that'd be great. Or not, I didn't see it, so whatever. But don't fight, because we have a zero tolerance policy on violence, so even if you fight back, you're gonna get expelled, you know what I mean? So then, now it's just you and this kid that you know bullies you, and then him and his dad teaching him his ways, and your dad teaching you his ways, and now they're outside, you know? And maybe your dad tries to have a heart-to-heart with the other dad, because both two dads of kids, and so he says to him, he's like, hey, look, can you It was 1969. And then the bully dad goes, is this motherfucker all right? Like, it felt crazy because we knew. And we didn't know this exact thing would happen, but we knew we didn't feel good, and we knew we didn't feel good for months. You know what I mean? Before there was ever a debate. When we just knew it was going to be an election, we didn't feel good. That should tell everyone something. Not feeling good about an election that isn't even going to happen for another year, because we knew who the contenders were early on, right? Some people tried to run the Republican Party and they got washed, right? But we knew it was going to be Trump and we knew it was going to be Biden for a very long time, and we didn't feel good since last year. And no one took that to heart, Republican or Democrat. People did not feel good, right? You ever get cold feet a year before the wedding? Because if so, maybe you shouldn't do it, you know? Maybe they're not the one. We're not crazy, they're crazy. You understand that, right? Like, it's not us. It's not us at all. Because, you know, we have eyes and ears and we use them or whatever. And that's the other thing that really stuck out to me, is that, you know, no one really talks about Trump's performance because of Biden's, but Trump didn't do that well. There was a lot of like open lying to the point where where do you do in that situation? Like, everyone was kind of trashing the moderators for not doing some live fact checking in the moment. Sure, but what do you do when somebody lies that much, and how they lied, right? Because this is the thing. We found out last night that the tactics work. Trump lies fast. He talks so fast that when you hear the lie, you're like, but he didn't stutter, so it sounded kind of true. Like, I know it's not right because I was there. Because that's the other thing. He'll be lying about stuff that we were here. Like, we all remember him being president. We were here. So don't tell me it was different. I was then. And Biden, I'm assuming, is trying to tell the truth. He's saying something. But we found it that, like, you know, a fast lie beats an unintelligible truth. It does. Even in your personal lives, it does. Let's say you out with friends, right? Out with friends, and then let's say, you know, you've been bad. You've been terrible even. You did a little cheating, right? And then you get caught. And now they're holding the cell phone in front of you and they're like, who is this, right? And then you say, who is it? How am I supposed to know everybody that's in my phone? Do you know everybody that's in your phone? That's crazy. People got contacts in their phone all the time they don't remember. Sometimes I go through my phone and I look at my contacts and I'm like, who are these people? Who are any of these people? It's a lie that almost sounds kind of fairly true. Like, do you remember every contact in your phone all the time? No. Or let's say you were out and somebody tried to get you to be bad. They tried to get you. Tried to get you to do some cheating. And you were like, no, I don't want to cheat. No, I love them. Get away from me, right? But later, let's say later, unbeknownst to you, one of your friends thinking they're doing you a favor or maybe playing around or playing too much, right? They hand your phone to that person and that person puts their number in your phone, right? So now when your partner is holding the phone to you, who is this in your phone? What's this number? And you try to tell the truth and you go, I was like, because before, in 1969, no? Because what do we do now? What's the plan? You know what I mean? What's the plan? Are we just gonna move on like nothing happened? Or are we gonna just hope for the best? What's really the plan? Because we're acting as if there aren't other people that can run. And we're acting that way because of the circular thinking. Because look, legacy media, sometimes I trash them. People in the DNC, sometimes I trash them. But the thing that they weren't wrong about is the reasoning that lets you land where you were before. It's not lazy. It's not out of not caring. It's out of not having a belief and knowing your options. That's what happens. And it happened to both parties, by the way, right? It happened in both scenarios where there were people in the national conventions of these parties not really sure where to go from here. And so you go with what worked last time, even if it's not going to work this time, you know? And I think it's tough. It's tough when you have something like that, right? Something where unequivocally we can all look at it and be like, yes, the man is old and maybe it wasn't his night, but this looks very bad and it does not inspire confidence in us. It doesn't inspire confidence in the people that we want to vote for this man, if nothing else, so the other man can't win, or because we really believe in the policies and the actions of this man, right? It doesn't help. And then you have people who are those could-be contenders, right? Because there's a conspiracy theory that I'd like to believe. And I'll share it with you, but I have no evidence for what I'm saying. There's a conspiracy that they wanted this debate. People in the DNC want this debate to be before the convention so that if he didn't perform well, there'd be time to rally behind someone else and replace him. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it looks like a setup. It looked like a setup if I ever seen one. You know? Because the idea that he was at Camp David prepping for this debate for a week and that they actually made him prep because he was hoarse. Why is this man hoarse? It's because they had him really talking like he was going to be out there dunking on Trump instead of just giving him a week-long nap. Let that man rest. Y'all worked him so hard he showed up with a cold. Set him up to fail, right? Because who else could it be, you know? Some people say Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's a tough one, though, because then right after the debate, Gavin Newsom goes up there and does a full-on Ron DeSantis. Because remember when Ron DeSantis was running against Trump, he just didn't want to say Trump's name yet. He was like, I'm not running yet or whatever. And then it finally got time for them to run and he announced. And then he had a little bit of momentum, but then he had to go toe-to-toe with Trump and he didn't know how to do it. So he got aired out in front of everybody, right? I think Gavin Newsom had similar ideas. He was like, look, I'm going to support the president this time. I'm going to be in everybody's good graces. I'll run in 2028, right? But if there's ever a time, it's now. And it doesn't help when he goes on TV right after the debate and tries to negate everything that we just saw. Because it makes me trust him less. You know what I mean? When they're asking him, how do you feel about his performance? I mean, he's like, oh, come on, everyone has an off night. That's happened to everybody. I've been alive for a while. That has not happened to me. You know? Or you get Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen. You know what I like about Gretchen Whitmer? Gretchen Whitmer would be good because Gretchen Whitmer, they already tried to kidnap her. So They already tried to kidnap her, so that already right there is like that's a die of January 6th right there. So she has some experience, like when they come, you know what I mean?